Have you ever wondered about the very first documented murder trial in United States history? This all starts on December 22nd, 1799, when Elma Sands leaves her boarding house and is never seen alive again. Now, Elma is 22 years old at the time, and she's living at a boarding house for single people in New York City. And she also happens to be seeing one of the other boarders, Levi Weeks. Now, things are getting pretty serious between Elma and Levi, so much so that Levi is actually sleeping in Elma's room at night, which right now we wouldn't bat an eye at, but in 1799 is a pretty big deal. Now, the owner of the boarding house, Catherine, happens to be Elma's cousin, and she kind of says to Elma, "This is not appropriate. This isn't something we should be doing." And Elma says, "Don't worry about it. Levi and I are actually leaving on Sunday night to go get married." And on Sunday, Elma is dressed beautifully, and she is very excited to be getting married, and she leaves in the company of Levi Weeks. But hours later, Levi returns without Elma, and when Catherine questions him about this, he says he has no idea what she's talking about, that they were not going to get married, and he doesn't know where Elma is. But when Catherine continues to press him on the subject, he ends up breaking down and just continues to repeat, "I am ruined, I am ruined, I am ruined." 11 days later, Elma's body is found at the bottom of a well, and public interest in the case quickly picks up. Rumors start to spread that Elma was pregnant, which caused Levi to murder her, though a coroner's inquest actually found this to not be true. But Catherine decides to publicly display Elma's body so that people can make their own decisions on this case. 2 months later, we are in the courtroom on March 31st, 1800, and the defense counsel is star-studded. Levi's brother Ezra is actually very well connected and wealthy and has paid for a counsel of Henry Livingston, Aaron Burr, and Alexander Hamilton. The court case begins promptly at 10 a.m. and it quickly ensues into what I would define as chaos. They are using this as an opportunity to set the rules for a murder trial moving forward, and Aaron Burr and Alexander Hamilton are constantly interrupting in front of the jury while witnesses are on the stand to talk about what they should and should not be doing. This behavior from the defense counsel is really well documented and also really well recreated in the podcast Erase the Murder of Elma Sands. Levi's counsel decides to rely on a defense we unfortunately know well here in the United States. They decide to shame Elma for having premarital sex and say that this led her to commit suicide and throw herself down the well, which completely ignores the bruising that was found all over her body. They also say that Levi was actually eating dinner with his brother Ezra and was not with Elma on that night, and they say that all the evidence is circumstantial. At 2:30 in the morning on April 2nd, closing arguments have been given and the judge gives the jury instructions for deliberation. However, before he sends them out, he mentions that there is not enough evidence in this case to convict Levi Weeks, and so when the jury leaves, they only deliberate for 5 minutes, come back in, and find Levi Weeks innocent of the murder of Elma Sands.